What's up, everyone? This is Nate, and I am back with another of my Walter Hill box set reviews. This, of course, again, the directed by Walter Hill box set from Imprint, and I'm going through all these movies and reviewing them for you guys. So far, I have done Hard Times, Charles Bronson, liked it. Then I did The Driver, Ryan O'Neal, liked it. And today's movie is going to be one from 1980. It is called The Long Riders. This is a Western about the Jesse James and the Youngers. Jesse James, his brother, the Youngers. I'm going to go into this movie in a little bit, but before I do, if you would, please consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already. That way, every time new videos drop, you can watch them, hit the bell icon. That way you get notified when they come out. And if you would, please just give me a thumbs up down below if you like movie reviews or anything like that. If you've seen this movie, leave me a comment. What are your thoughts on this particular Western? Now, I've never seen this movie. Again, first time watch. And I think it was interesting the way they did some of the casting here. Pretty much in the movie, if there's a set of brothers, they're played by real life brothers. So, for example, the James brothers, Frank James and Jesse James, they're played by Stacy Keach and James Keach. Then you have the Carradine brothers. They're playing the younger brother. So David Carradine, Keith Carradine, Robert Carradine, the Quaid brothers are in this. So I thought that was pretty cool. These are all real figures. This is not these are based on real life people. So they got real brothers to play it. It was kind of cool to see. And they all were pretty young. So that was like Randy Quaid, Dennis Quaid. It was cool to see them. Now, that being said, I didn't really like the first half of this movie. I found it difficult to get into. It's very, as far as the story goes, it's very like stripped down. I wouldn't even say there's like a really super defined plot. It just sort of like shows events that happen with these guys. Either they're like, it shows them do a bank robbery at the beginning, a bank robbery that goes bad. Due to Dennis Quaid's character. They end up kicking him out of the gang because some people get shot and killed and it all goes wrong. So then they're kind of laying low until they could do their next job. And that whole part where they're kind of laying low, like they're just like interacting with women. So David Carradine got this prostitute girlfriend and it goes to like, I don't know. I found it a little boring, to be honest. Here and there'll be a little like spurt of violence where some like cops will show up and they'll shoot them and stuff, but it wasn't very exciting. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit bored. It looks good. It's well shot. It's well acted, but a little boring for me. Now, the last act, the third act, is actually really good. They come back together. They plan to do this bank robbery in Minnesota, and that really goes wrong, and it is super exciting. Honestly, the action is really good. You get a lot of it's a shootout, basically, but people are getting shot, and this is the 80s, so, you know, squibs. We're getting, like, blood spraying out. It was awesome. You have some cool uses of slow motion. Like, slow-mo now is way more common, but in, like, 1980, it was pretty unique. There is one shot where these horses, they're on horseback and they're jumping through this like building and they're jumping through the windows and then out the other side of these other windows, and it looks great. There's another shot of the horses running through a forest, and it looks amazing. Like, I was like, wow, this is super well shot. So I really enjoyed the last act of them planning the heist, doing the heist, then the shootout that ensues, and then you get to the end, and then that's kind of where the movie ends. Now, this, again, being based on a true story, it reminded me of another movie, a recent movie called The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. It's a long name, but it was with Casey Affleck, and Brad Pitt plays Jesse James. And this ending had kind of the similar ending to that. So I guess that's just how it really was. But yeah, I thought the third act, it saved it a bit for me because the first two acts, I wasn't really into. I'm not saying it was a bad movie, but I found it a bit boring. So overall, I ended up giving a similar score to Hard Times. I'm going to give it like a 7 out of 10. I do think it's good. For me, I found that first 2/3 lackluster. Like, there was okay in spots, but there was also a lot of times where I was just like, come on, like, do something. So it's like I said, Walter Hill, very stripped down, not very overly dramatic or anything like that. So it was a little boring in the beginning, but it's very exciting at the end, and that kind of made up for it. So that's my review for The Long Rider, 7 out of 10. Next movie on the list will be Extreme Prejudice with Nick Nolte, a movie I have seen before, but I've never reviewed. So that's going to be the next one coming up. And until then, take it easy.